Mrs. Mertz.
I'm Mrs. Lee.
I'm Miss Morgan.
And we're celebrating 150 years of Yellowstone.
Woo!
Hope to see you soon.
Hey, Museum Explorers!
Today we're going to be taking a look at our own Yellowstone Museum. But before we take a look at our pictures, we're going to talk about some facts about Yellowstone. Our first is about this man. His name is Ulysses S. Grant. Did you know that he established Yellowstone as the nation's first national park?
Wow, and isn't he the 18th President of the United States?
I think you're right. He was the 18th President of the United States.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And some other cool things about Yellowstone is that there are lots of different kinds of animals.
There are?
Yeah.
I wonder what type of animals we're going to see at Yellowstone.
Yeah, I wonder too. Maybe we'll see them in our museum today.
Yeah, maybe we will. But before we show you our pictures, we want you to think about some questions. The first one is, why is Yellowstone so big? Why would people want to preserve that much land?
That's a good question. And our other two questions are, why are national parks important? And what can you do to preserve and keep national parks clean and beautiful?
Yeah, why would we want to keep them beautiful?
That's a good question.
Let's go look at those pictures.
Okay, that was good. I think.
Hey guys! Today we're going to learn about two of Yellowstone's most important and protected animals. The first of those two is a wolf. A male wolf can grow to be about 3 feet tall and 3 to 5 feet long. Wolves are predators, meaning they hunt prey or smaller animals. Today there are about 100 wolves living in Yellowstone. One thing that wolves can do to communicate with each other is howling. Here's a great clip of that. In the past, Yellowstone's wolves went extinct. So in 1995, the gray wolf was reintroduced to the park. This helped control the elk and deer herds and balance the Yellowstone's natural ecosystem. It did so by keeping the elk and deer on the move, keeping them from overgrazing. This helped encourage plant life and the return of animals that had left, like the badgers, foxes, songbirds, and more. With the reintroduction of wolves came a couple of concerns, though. One of these being the livestock. Wolves can't tell the difference between domesticated animals and wild animals. So we had a couple farmers upset when the wolves were killing their livestock naturally. Because of this, Idaho has a law stating that up to 90% of the wolf population can be hunted. Another reason that they have this law is for the native animals of Idaho. Some of these populations were negatively impacted by the wolves, like the elk and the bison.
So the bison is the other animal you're talking about. These are a few photos of them. And so bison, there are normally over 2,000 bison in Yellowstone. They are the largest native animal in North America. And the male bison can weigh up to 2,000 pounds and be 9 feet long, as well as 6 feet tall, which is about that tall. And they're herbivores, so that means that they only eat plants. And so this is a video of them wallowing, which is what they often do, and fighting for rights. Okay, and so bison are protected And the reason is they were hunted to almost extinction. So there were almost none in the wild. And they're no longer on the endangered species list because of reintroduction and adding so many into Yellowstone. And they're a keystone species, so that means that they're super important for all the plant growth and for balancing the wildlife in Yellowstone. And so there are two important Yellowstone.
Hey everybody, today we are going to be learning a little bit about geysers.
Did you guys know there's over 300 geysers in Yellowstone alone?
I wonder why we have so many geysers.
Well, that's because of heat flow.
Okay.
So there's heat flow deep underneath the surface, right underneath Yellowstone, which causes all the geysers.
I guess you could say it's kind of like a hot spot then?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So what exactly is a geyser?
Okay, so a geyser is actually a rare kind of hot spring. And when that hot spring gets under a lot of pressure, it can then boil over. The water that's in that geyser specifically erupts and it sends a bunch of water and steam up into the air.
Oh, that makes more sense. So today we're going to be learning more about how geysers work.
And in order to do that, we thought it would be fun to do a little experiment. So we're going to create our own geysers.
Perfect, let's get into it.
So today we are going to be doing our Yellowstone geyser experiment. And so before we start, we just wanted to explain a little bit about the materials you're going to need and if there's any direction specific for this experiment. So the first thing that you will need for this experiment is either a hot plate or some type of stove, a heating source.
Yes, and this heat source represents our magma.
Yes. The next thing you'll need is either a glass bowl or a pot and some type of funnel, because that together forms our geyser.
Yep.
The next thing you'll need is tin foil. You want enough to be able to cover the top of your bowl or your pot, and you should be able to stick a little hole in the top for your funnel to pop out.
Yes, and the tinfoil represents the Earth's crust.
Yes. The next thing you'll need for this experiment is water. You want to be able to fill about half the pot, and that water actually represents something called groundwater.
Which groundwater comes from rain, from melted snow, and something really cool about geysers is they actually reuse their water over and over again. So how a geyser works is at the very bottom beneath the geyser, there is magma. And this magma is heating up the water that is at the bottom of that geyser. So once the water gets hot enough and reaches boiling point, which is 212 degrees Fahrenheit, then the water will erupt and you'll see the water spit out of the geyser, and you'll also see smoke, which is kind of what we can see now. We can see steam coming out from it because the water is boiling, so it reached its boiling point.
Yes, exactly. And so this here just gives you a little idea of what exactly a geyser is or how it works. We can't really show you here in person what a geyser does or how it works, but this is a great representation of that.
Yes.
And so we hope that you get to try this at home and that you have fun doing it.
All right, see you later.